under sharing, let's just point that out. You get to decide who can see it. So you can invite other people to be able to edit your page. Anybody know what the difference between owner and collaborator is?
Owners can delete information. Collaborators can.
Collaborators can actually delete too. Owners can give other people access to it and delete the whole site. Whereas collaborators can just edit pages. They can't say, oh, well, I'm going to change and give John access to it. And then you can choose to make it viewable to anybody at Shippensburg University or anybody in the world. Right? Anybody in the world, then you can put a link to it anywhere you want. And it will show up in Google search results. So just be careful about making it public if you don't want to be public. There was somebody. Somebody did an ice hockey page. So they're running it for a group on campus. That's fine. I don't really care because you're not using my disk space, you're not using my network connection. So serve away. You're just using your 8 gig of disk space that Google gives you. Anyway, we're beginning to build out this list of stuff. So, for instance, under Department General, we'll see the equipment support page that Jess is maintaining, and obviously these tech talks are showing up on, and more documentation is showing up, and we're actually making this more useful. The other thing under Department General is this exam prep. We had a student who was going through the GREs and getting ready to go to graduate school, and she did an independent study of collecting all the different materials that were on the GREs and on the exam prep sites, and kind of getting things together as a study guide. So there's a lot of stuff on here as you get ready to graduate if you need to take the GREs or the MFAT exams. There's a lot of stuff out here that is like summarized, concentrated computer science material. And you can take a look at that. Then our department page, stuff like internship lists are all out there. So there's some good stuff. Any questions about sites? Yes, sir.
Remember you said you can be made public, like, for anyone who Google search, so you don't have to pay anything to launch your own website or maintain your own website. It's all done through Google Docs.
Yeah. Sites.
Sites are.
Yeah.
So Google will launch a website and search by anyone. You can advertise anything you want, make links, download stuff, whatever you.
Knock yourself out.
But it working fine at the 8 gigs per Gmail account.
Hey,
Yeah, you can buy more.
so you can buy more storage, that would be all you need to buy.
It's not ridiculously expensive either.
Is it, how many gigs you get for like $20 a year?
Yeah, you get next unlimited for $20 a year.
Yeah, it's not that much when you get all.
For like $20 a year, we could probably fit all of our student home directories on a Google servers. But they're just insane. They really are just totally insane. One of the reasons why we use Google Mail, and I want to talk about this a little bit, is when you go and send mail, it's often the case where you're in class with somebody, maybe you know their name, and if you go to the campus directory, you're going to see everybody in the whole university. If you go to Gmail and you use your CSUBDU Gmail, if I want to send email to somebody, I get my contacts as well as the shared directory of all students. So I think Jessica Burns back there, I can get her email address just by typing it in. And so we have that common contacts list basically that allows us to send email back and forth to each other. I will say to at least people in this room, we as a faculty are using the CSUBDU as your official email list. If you not reading that email or forwarding it away, or having your shit email forwarded in, you're probably missing some mail messages. And you should be very careful about that. While I'm talking about mail, the campus mail system is fatally flawed, in my opinion. The Outlook utility only works well if you have Windows. If you have a Mac or Linux machine, you're kind of out of luck. Even the web interface is, well, brain damaged. In addition to that, you have a spam inbox on your campus mail account. So let's see, if I go to mail.ship.edu, no CS. I don't know my password. How's that for bad? You get a spam box, but you may still be missing messages. I don't know if you've ever noticed, but sometimes messages just get lost in the ether. Part of the problem is the campus has this thing called Barracuda. How many people have ever heard of Barracuda? You go and check it, you just go in and turn it off. Again, that's not my password. So Barracuda allows you to have all your spam messages be filtered before they get into your mail system. So the way the mail server is configured for the campus, rest of campus, is Barracuda is what's called a smart host. All email for the whole campus comes into it. And it applies spam rules and decides what leaves Barracuda and goes into Exchange. Because once it's in Exchange, it's hard to get anything out of Exchange. So Barracuda is like a firewall for spam. And you may have stuff that lands in there that doesn't make it to your shipping address. The mail server for the CS department goes the internet to Google. Your mail never touches anything here. If I were to do this command, what we see here is how the internet sees the CS.edu domain name. So when I send mail to CS.edu, the mail exchangers are registered as these, and they're all Google. So all your mail that goes straight to Google is out of my hands. I can't break it. And I don't have Barracuda to keep your mail. The other thing is, Google's a little bit better at intelligently filtering what email you can send and what you can't send. So you can pretty much send anything. If you need to send code to one of your professors or to one of your teammates, you can send program code back and forth. Whereas the thing downstairs, if you try to send anything with a Java file in it, it says, oh, that's a virus, and it needs your email. So just be very aware of that. So there's a bunch of reasons why we've moved to Gmail, not just to be confusing. Probably the best reason why we moved to Gmail is once you graduate, you get to keep your CS.edu email account. That will never go away so long as Gmail provides the service. Whereas downstairs, the minute the check is cleared and you're not paying the company anymore, they cut off your account. Or it's not the very minute, but it's like a couple of weeks later you're gone. So, what do you think about? The other thing that we can do is we can set up calendars, and this is a great tool for time management. It's also a great way to schedule an appointment with your faculty members. Most of us are using calendars on our Gmail account. Right? Well, there's only 7 faculty, and I know 3 of us are, so I'll get one more so I can say at least half of us are. We'll work on it. But if you need to set an appointment, obviously you can kind of see my schedule, like on Fridays, although I don't have tech talks on there, I probably should. You can send me an appointment, right? So, for instance, I can go to create an event, and you go to find time. Find time, as soon as I add Dr. Wellington to it, it will automatically start blocking off her schedule and my schedule and find the times that work for both of us. She's from Merlin So now if I go back to font, that's the time that works for everybody. Although I see she has that time blocked off in the afternoon, so that won't work. One of the things we haven't done yet, we haven't added our rooms. So if you need to schedule a time when you can meet with your peers, you can schedule the room. We're going to put the 4 rooms in here. And that way you can schedule those as well. Oh, I did put them in. How about that? Yeah, because I put the oscilloscope in and the PS3 in. I don't remember those two. So maybe only add those two. So, but I see the room schedule itself isn't on here. So we have some work to do when populating some of this stuff. But what will happen is when I send this, Dr. Wellington will get an email that says you've been invited to an event, and then she can say, no, I don't really want to meet with you. If you send me an appointment, I can say, no, I don't want to meet with you, or I'll say, yes, that's fine, and then it'll show up on your schedule. If you have a smartphone, like an iPhone or an Android phone, your calendar can be integrated directly with that. So my calendar automatically syncs up with Google. So if you have Google Sync for your phone, and there's a bunch of different ones, say you have a BlackBerry, an iPhone, a Nokia, or Windows, you can set up your phone to actually have Google push out calendar events straight out to your phone. And that way your phone will remind you when it's time to meet with your advisor or go to a class or wake the hell up, it's time for class, it's 2 o'clock. So using that calendar is a really good way to kind of get organized as well as stay in contact with the faculty. If you ever find yourself in a position where you need to maintain one of these domains, you can set up the apps domain, and from there you can go in as the administrator, because you set it up, you're the administrator. And there's all kinds of toys and tools that you can manage. So we've covered email, calendar, docs, and sites. Google Wave, I think, is stupid, but I left it on. I guess it's just a way of saying, hey, look at this, it's a cool site. And everyone's like, oh yeah, it's a cool site. And social networking is lost on computer scientists, I think. Google Chat, you all know about Google Chat. Gchat, there's no big deal about that. Google Mobile allows, that's what allows your mobile sync to work. We talked about contacts, groups, and some of the cool things we can turn on. Yeah, like basically downloading user accounts and things like that. So here's Matt's account. And one of the things I just want to point out to you guys is nowhere in here does it say that I get to read his email. Right? Just want to make sure people understand that we're not sitting here being bored reading people's email. I don't agree with that. I know that you can do that on some email systems. I personally find that offensive. And there's a certain legal risk that goes along with that. If you have the ability to read email, and you have the ability to censor email, you have the obligation to do so if you find that user doing illegal things. And there are certain illegal things that you have a legal obligation to report to a law enforcement authorities. So for instance, if you are a systems administrator and you are reading somebody's email and you discover that they are doing child pornography, you have a legal obligation to turn them in to the law enforcement officers, or you are also an accessory after the fact and can be found guilty and prosecuted